And we're back with another question from our members. Ron, are there beings without souls who do not come from source? Are there more off world and non soul beings than there are humans on our planet? And if so, can they all be helped?
It's an interesting question, and there are beings without souls. Um, Clones would be a good definition of a being without a soul. Um, a clone comes from something that's already there, and but it's kind of like a test tube. Uh, well, that's probably not the best way to say it, but so the clone doesn't, and we have a lot of clones. I don't know how many there are, um, but there's a lot of. They've been doing clones for a long time, and they do clones for people that they um, want us to believe are still here, and they have been taken out, and and so they use the clones, and they have a problem with clones. They they grow up. Mm, age-wise, they look like uh, they have to. It's accelerated the growth of it, and so it it will quickly speed past what it might look like if that person were still alive. And the clones, you make a clone from a clone, and it deteriorates real fast. So, are there more off-world and non-soul beings than there are humans on our planet? I don't really know if there are. Um, I know that there's a lot of them, and they have a purpose. They're used for a purpose, and I'm not sure if it's a good side or the bad side. I suppose clones can be used for good, and somebody bad has been taken off the earth or met their fate, if you want to call it that. Um, and there's a clone uh, that replaces them. Uh, you know, I don't need to get into names, but there are a lot of people who have been dealt with through military tribunals, and we're going to find out who they are because when the time comes, their tribunals will be played. Now, if there was a clone involved, and we see the clone, and that clone is supposed to be somebody who has um, gone through military tribunals, then they'll probably arrest that particular clone, and we'll think it's the original person, and then they'll arrest. Okay, it's not. I don't know that it's appropriate to arrest them, but for crimes that they didn't uh, commit, but they will. They're used for a purpose, and it's to get us through a period of time. Treasonous people are dealt with the military tribunals, and they meet their um, demise, if you want to call it, executed, and they'll go through this legal system, or they go through the tribunals, and they video the tribunals, and so you might have one that is is arrested now, and then they play the original tribunal of that individual. Um, I think there's going to be a lot of that. So, and you can see that there are people who don't look like the originals. Biden is one of those. He doesn't, it's an actor with a mask on, and they just do marvelous things with with those kinds of things. So that's the bad guys doing what they think is the best way to keep up the ruse so that they can stay in power. But it's all coming to an end. Um, Now, can they be helped? I don't know what you mean by the helped. Um, if they don't have a soul, um, then they're not part of the God family, a family of gods, if you want to call it that. And there is a whole family of God structure that would be in the, we call them souls, and uh, and soul extensions are soulmates, whatever you want to call it. There's 12 of them in the original state. There's 12 of them, and they're soul. So there's soul. They call them soul extensions. They're personalities, and they get to, through their soul guidance, the inner guidance system. They have a purpose and they have their experiences. And an old soul has been around a long time through many incarnations, and a young soul is one who's still working towards their, let's call it celestialization. When a soul extension reaches a level where they can become a soul themselves, then they fuse back into, so a soul infused soul extension. And there's labels for that. Born again experience might be one of them. Baptism by the Holy Ghost might be another one. Um, there's it's something that we don't know about because we're not supposed to know about that. The cabal doesn't want us to know about all of this sort of stuff. They just want to feed us all of their slavery stuff. And but we are really, human beings are actually creators that come from Prime Creator. You have Prime Creator, and then he creates the children of God. Uh, we we have all of the attributes of God, everything that would be associated with Prime Creator. A Prime Creator is a pure intelligence. At that level, then we are an expressed intelligence from Prime Creator, and that pure intelligence we take with us, and that's our God spark. That makes us who we are really as creators, and our job is to go and create what we want. We have free agency, and if we some of the souls, uh, some of the soul extensions probably aren't good people. So, but that doesn't matter. God always looks at us as a perfect individual, an extension of His perfection, and that's how He created us, in His per- perfection. And it's pure love. It's pure intelligence. It's the purity of Prime Creator that we are. And there's a lot of technology there that we don't understand, and in it at a point in time in the future, maybe we'll get to here to really understand. Of course, we have to understand it because that's who we are, and we're not being able to be ourselves under the cabal and the way that they have enslaved us. We create things, but it's for them rather than for ourselves. So um, there's a cleansing process that's going on right now. And what a blessing it's going to be able to create things for ourselves that we want to create. And that which you focus on is what you create. And if we focus on the bad stuff, then we create bad stuff. If we focus on good stuff, then we create good things. And that's just the way it is. Uh, our third dimension is not the, the reality of third dimension is it's called Maya. It's called Satan. It's a lie. That's the whole part of third dimension. Is it's not who we are. Any kind of physicality is not who we are. Uh, there are people who will argue that point uh, and say that I'm really wrong, and it doesn't matter. Uh, the reality of who we are is going to come to us, and that's part of what's happening. Our DNA was changed by the bad people so that we couldn't be who we are. Well, if our DNA is reconstructed and is purified, there's different levels of DNA for us, and the higher forms of DNA or the higher forms of um, physicality, um, ascended masters, and so on and so forth. So there's a whole structure that we're not supposed to know about. So we're going to learn about it. If you hold on to the Cabal's way of thinking and organized religion, you'll have a difficult time until you see who you really are. And that's what's coming. Um, that's what Jesus anchored to the world. And so he came and anchored love, the covenant of love, to the earth so that we could be, get rid of all of the stuff that's not really us. The covenant of love. What is love? What is pure love? That's who we are. It's the pure intelligence, the pure love of Prime Creator. That's our God spark. So we're coming into that, and I hope there's people who don't get upset, but we have been lied to. And in erasing that lie and coming into the truth, if you hold on to the bad stuff, it's a much harder way of processing yourself back into the purity of who we really are. So I hope you will at least consider what I'm saying as a possibility. Um, to me, it's a reality of who I am. I hope that helps. Let's move on
Let's
to the
move on
next
to
question.
Great answer, Ron. All that is hidden will be revealed. And we will
Yes.
be right back with another question from a member.
Okay.
Okay.